Definitely gonna get cancer from this.
Hello, fellow humans. Today's an exciting day because Paul, my HVAC friend, he is bringing the mini excavator from his house over. He's been kind of busy, so we picked it up, and oh, there it is. So there it is. There's a good deal we might tip this. So let's see what happens. So as you guys may have noticed, this is a pre-storm era video. The tree is still here, everything is still normal, and it's been a while since I was able to upload this stuff. But we're just unstrapping this thing from the trailer, and hopefully it doesn't tip on its way down. So wish me luck. Let it warm up a bit. Oh! Hey, here? Nope, still. Should we just go for it? Oh,
I would make this lower if you can.
The boom? Yeah, okay. Hold on.
Raise the blade up.
Yeah. I was raising that as it shut off. All right, we're going for it. Yeah. And this side's fine. All right, ready? Going. All right, hold on. I gotta pick this up. Woo! Woo! Back. It is not very fast. All right, guys, there we have it. This is our AGT Industrial WH12R. So this guy got used, and one of the biggest things is due to the current tariff situations, these are going really high at auction, and I kind of lucked out, so I was able to pick this up for $4 grand, which is actually the price they are new. So this guy bought it, and I mean, when we picked it up, it had 2.6 hours on it. So I mean, he did some digging. You can see there's a lot of mud on it, but it's still relatively new. I mean, it's got some corks, it's got some issues that we need to address. And essentially, I'm going to make a video of me addressing all those issues. It's very, very jerky. It is not very beginner friendly, I feel like. Also, I don't know if this is loose, but this, when the boom is up, this is very wobbly, like it'll wobble back and forth a lot. I'm not sure if that's very normal on these Chinese excavators. So hopefully, we'll be able to use this to excavate out all of that dirt and gravel, so we can save our back a little bit, and then also the tree stumps in the front. So I figured buying this is going to be significantly cheaper than renting it. I think Home Depot has a very similar one, and I think it's $300 a day and probably $1,200 a week. And personally, I think like probably just me getting used to the machine is probably going to take at least a day or two. So that's $300 or $600 that I'm just using to get acquainted to the machine. So this is going to be on the channel. I'm kind of excited. I have some attachments I want to get for it too. like a trenching bucket, a ripper to rip out all the tree roots. But so far so good. It runs. I'm gonna probably do a fluid change on the hydraulics and everything else. So stay tuned for that. Thanks. All right, so to kind of continue on my excavator here. So number one, I got this used with 2.6 miles. It does have a lot of debris on it. So I'm gonna try to power wash a lot of this stuff out, if that's possible. It does have a fair amount of scrapes and bruises. I think this is pretty normal. Like there's rust in certain spots. I mean, there's a couple that I saw that were pretty bad, so I'll address those. The last guy did grease these, but he's never changed the oil or anything. Oh yeah, here's some pretty big rust spots here. So he did change the no, he did not change the oil. He did grease all the fittings and stuff. So that's a little bit of a plus. There's a lot of mud, so I'm gonna probably knock out a lot of this mud, grease some of this up. I'm thinking about doing a cushion valve for the rotating assembly, and then these do not include oil coolers or filters, so that'll be up as well. So oil filter and cooler for this guy, and I don't know if I need any sort of bracing stuff here. I do want to get a hydraulic thumb for picking up stuff. So this is a manual thumb, so you have to unbolt it and pop it in and out, which isn't terrible, but also, if I have a hydraulic thumb, that'd be a lot easier. I want to get a narrow trenching bucket and maybe an auger. I do have an electronic auger. We'll see how that fares, but this will definitely be way easier. It does have one single headlight here, which, I mean, it's okay for what it is. This system doesn't really have a very good charging system, so I don't know if it'll support me adding a bunch of other stuff. The previous owner also ran it really low on hydraulic fluid, which I suppose, doesn't really, I don't think it'll hurt it. It'll just run low on hydraulic fluid, pressure, sorry. And then this looks like someone hit this and then it backed out a little bit. It's missing a bolt. I mean, that's okay. This is the counterweight. I think the biggest complaint about these things is they're very unstable, which I do agree. Like, I've almost tipped over this thing multiple times. So I would like to maybe weld on some extensions here and have like an adjustable counterweight that comes back and forth. That will probably keep, the machine a little bit more stable. I'm not sure about the hydraulics. I think that's just something that I have to get used to. The choke knob has broken off. That's not a really big deal. I can just replace that or 3D print something. The engine itself, I'm not really quite sure if this is a real Briggs & Stratton, but it does say Briggs & Stratton on it. So, but that doesn't mean anything. So I would like to, and also you can see, I don't know if this is spillage from this guy or whatnot. There's a little bit of oil spillage out of the hydraulic tank here. And I'll probably give this a once over. The oil drain bolt is basically on the frame, so I would like to be able to extend that out. I already got the line for that, and these throttle cables are also really, really bad. So I will be addressing that as well. But I guess right now, maybe tear this apart and kind of see what's going on. Maybe I should wash it first. So I will see what I can do about that. Yeah, you can see all the crud that came off of that. Hopefully the rain's gonna get rid of some of this. And as you see, the machine looks nice and clean now. And there are some spots that need to get addressed. I mean, it's gonna be used, so it doesn't really matter, but we have a massive rust spot here on the boom here. And then, I mean, there's There's rust spots on the hydraulic fittings. That needs to get taken care of. This doesn't matter as much. I mean, there's the paint's peeling off of the bucket, but you know, that's I mean, you're gonna scrape that up. There's some dirt down there I missed. I'll just wipe that down real quick. The majority of it's gone, so like gravel and rocks aren't stuck in there. So that should be good. And I think the next thing is check out the engine compartment and give this a good once over. The only downside of this is you kind of have to remove this back plate to really do anything. So I would like to be able to remove that counterweight, add my own counterweight, and then maybe hinge that or something so it would be easier to access the engine. Also add a hydraulic filter and a cooler, and maybe 2 fans. Guys, after yesterday's fiasco, I've decided to order a hydraulic thumb. That is what we will be trying to install today, because we have very little time and a lot of stuff to get done. Alright, so what are we doing today? These machines have horrendously bad hydraulic fluid in them. So we're gonna take this off and change the hydraulic fluid. We are currently at 5 hours on the clock. I don't want to run it too much longer, just because I don't want anything to get clawed up from all the debris in the hydraulic system. So what we're going to do is we're going to empty this hydraulic container out first. We're going to add a cooler and a filter into the system. This way it's easier to maintain and we can change everything. But in some videos I saw that the hydraulic tank actually has a drain port in the front here, which is not well placed. But it looks like this tank actually doesn't have a drain port at all. So there's nothing on this side, there's nothing on this side, and there's nothing on the other side. So there's literally no drain port. So I may consider draining that out and then basically drilling a hole at the bottom so I have a drain tube. And if I can have a drain tube, it would be nice to kind of position it in a position where I could get to it from the outside or whatnot, so it'd be easier to change the hydraulic fluid. But these are known to have like metal shavings in them, so I'm gonna actually take off this as well so I can get the top so I can take a look inside. But this was shipped basically with very low hydraulic fluid. I'm kind of worried about it, but not really. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start it up, warm it up a little bit, and find a way to drain this out. So I might use the vacuum method and then just drain it from here. I do have the DIN fittings to fit this, but I'm debating where should I put the fans and where should I put the actual cooler. So I'm gonna bring those out and we're gonna take a look at those. And sorry for the camera angle, this is really bad. Yeah, so basically, I think the cooler's gonna go on there. I have two fans that get wired in. I don't think a fan's gonna fit internally on this side, but I could do an external fan. I just don't even know. Like, what's the likelihood I'm gonna hit this when moving? Probably not super high, sorry. And I think we're gonna go from there. I think other mods that probably need to be done are obviously probably extend this out a little bit, but I'm keeping the cover off anyway, so I think it should be okay. But definitely needs a hydraulic cooler. But the funniest thing about this machine is people have complained they overheat in about an hour, but the fuel tank basically runs out of fuel in like 45 minutes. It's 0.8 gallons. So I guess that's a feature. But if we do add the hydraulic cooler, we could technically upgrade the fuel tank. I would ideally like to move the fuel tank outside of the engine bay so it's less heat. And if that happens, if we put it below, the problem is we need an electric fuel pump to constantly provide pressure to the fuel rail, where if we put it up high somewhere, maybe like on the seat, on the side, we might be able to still gravity feed it. I'm not really sure yet because this canopy, I mean, it's a nice sun canopy, but I don't really think it's needed, to be fair. We'll see what happens. So I'm gonna time lapse that and do that. There's a lot of mods to get done on this thing, and I'm just trying to get it all done so it can put in some work. Well, something's interesting. If you look, that looks like an O-ring. That's probably why there's so much oil on top of that. It's just spewing out the top here. And I actually think, yeah, that's from the bottom. So I think the cap actually is supposed to be, it just comes off that, and then this threaded part might stay in here, I guess. But I'm gonna open this up, but before I do that, I'm gonna pull a vacuum on this so I can drain this fluid out. That way, I'm still trying to figure out how to drain it efficiently because I'm gonna take it off from the pump. It's gonna leak everywhere, which is gonna be a living nightmare. I don't know if I can put a pan under this, but I have to redirect that somehow down and out. Well, first issue I encountered, there's something wrong with that ignition switch. Sometimes it turns on, sometimes it doesn't. I thought the battery was dead. Took a voltmeter, this is still at 12.8 volts. Now this is our hydraulic tank, and this is exactly the reason why this needs to be changed. Oh, look at how crusty that fluid looks. It also looks very aerated. So yeah, all of this needs to be changed, and it doesn't look like there's a filter in this, because the other one showed like a pre-filter. There's no pre-filter in this at all, so I gotta somehow drain and or suction this out. So we're gonna do that. That's coming out. I mean, it doesn't look super dirty, but once it gets down there, it looks kind of dirty. So we'll see how many gallons come out of this. I'm gonna clean this up, and then I'll disconnect the top one, which is kind of scary because that bottom one was really tight. All right, now that Jordan's done flirting with Christy.
Annoying the shit out of her. Annoying the hell out of her. Oh, you're still there, Christy.
You're still there. Oh, sorry. Oh.
You said I was.
All right, well, we're cleaning the inside of this. My arm keeps on getting stuck.
Bye,
Bye.
Christy.
Oh, definitely gonna get cancer from this.
Are you though?
I don't know. Oh. Alright, so for the most part it's all cleaned up. I'm going to flush it a little bit, and I'm sure you guys can see that it's grainy from the air, and there might be microparticles in there still, but I think a lot of it is because this tank is rusting and it's steel. So, but our DIN light fitting to our JIC fitting is on there, so that's essentially AN. And we are going to try to wire this up. I'm going to flush it a little bit with some fluid, and hopefully that cleans out some more gunk.
They don't have a big one.
It could either be outside, or I could try to drill some holes and put it here. But if I put it here, I'm going to need more yeah, I'm definitely need more ventilation holes. Down here is not, I mean, down here is probably the most ideal, but all of these bolts need to come off because there's a bunch of bolts here. Or I can put them on standoffs. And then the recoil starter might also be a problem there. So I think let's try to just put these out of the way temporarily. So here is where the cooler would normally go on a lot of these kits. I bought this cooler separately. It was not a part of a kit. I decided to use adapters and run AN fittings, which are a pretty common fitting in the automotive world. So I actually stock a lot of these and have a lot of these around just for oil cooler kits or oil filter relocation kits on cars. So I figured it would probably be the easiest for me to get, and also the easiest for me to replace in case anything goes wrong. But a lot of the issues with putting the oil cooler down there is airflow. It's right up against the engine. It blocks some access to a couple of things. And most importantly, I wanted to have access to the oil filter. And generally, they put the oil filter on the return tank. But I kind of wanted the oil filter to filter the oil before going into the cooler, so the cooler doesn't get clogged up or nothing happens past that. I mean, realistically speaking, I guess it doesn't matter so much just because any sort of gunk has already gone through here. And I'm still trying to figure out if I can keep the cooler in that location internally. But eventually, we do decide on a solution where it's kind of an eyesore, but also in a safe enough area where it gets free airflow and also easy to change the oil, which I think was a compromise. And you guys will see that in a moment. So it's been maybe a few weeks now, and finally gotten all the tubing kind of routed, minus one thing. So what we have is we have the return tube coming out of here, which I put into that adapter. This is the original tube. That's now an adapter that goes to a 10AN. That's going to come up to here. We're just going to go through this filter, fill up this oil cooler, go through here, and come back out into the return. So there's a couple of things. Number one, I did add a pressure gauge here. This has a 25 PSI bypass, so when that filter gets clogged and it hits 25 PSI, I'll be able to see and I'll know that's when the filter needs to be replaced. I have not wired up the fan yet, but so far I think just having a cooler is probably better than not having it. So it should do some passive cooling. The other thing I noticed is on the front of this machine, there's actually a voltage regulator / rectifier right here. And there's virtually no airflow here because there's a big metal panel that goes here and it gets no airflow. So I am thinking of maybe just changing this to mesh or cutting a huge hole, putting a fan to kind of move some airflow, and then putting a fan on this side. And that should move airflow through here relatively easily. So those are the things that I will be working on. But before any of that, what's going to happen is I'm going to fill up the hydraulic fluid tank. And I'm going to have a bucket here to purge out and drain out the rest of the fluid, because there's still old fluid in here because we've only drained the tank. So it's only been drained up to the pump inlet. So the rest of the system, even though I've tried to extend all the arms and the booms to push out as much fluid as possible, we're obviously not going to get the hydrostatic drives below, and also some of the other, the front, I guess this is the front blade. We're not going to get all the fluid out of that because that's actually way lower than that. So I'm going to start it up after I fill this up, and then I'm just going to have the new fluid run through, purge everything out of the system. And once everything's out of the system, then I could finally make up the line that connects this to that. And we should have a fully new, well, not new, but fully closed system with brand new fluid. And we can service that every couple, I don't know, 10 to 20 hours or something like that. We could change out the fluid. I don't know if that's actually needed, but I'll look at what the service recommendations are. The fluid that came out of it wasn't terrible, but once again, it doesn't have a filter in it. So it will be obviously better with a 10 micron filter, which is going to filter everything. So I'm going to do that.
Jesus.
Alright, so, and then
Oh, this is beans.
yeah, I mean, like I said, this would take a lot of force to come up.
Oh,
That's some beans.
In my opinion.
That's some good.